Hardcore Minecraft and I have had quite the relationship together. When I first started this channel, I actually envisioned being a Let's Play YouTuber and simply uploading hardcore challenge episodes like in my first series, Cave Only Hardcore. Of course, I'd start this very Let's Play you're watching right now later down the line, but things took a huge turn. Like, a really big one. People loved my showcases of different mods and resource packs, even still today, so much so that those videos started to skyrocket my channel and subscribers to the point of us nearly reaching 200,000 of y'all, something I never thought would happen. This of course meant that my hardcore episodes got less and less attention comparatively, but if you read the title and thumbnail, that's not why I'm quitting hardcore Minecraft. Hardcore lately has been terrifying to me. I've worked on so many projects in creative mode that I want to bring to the series, but I haven't been able to because, well, I'm really afraid of dying. I've been in love with our world from the very beginning, but the more time that passes, I get more and more anxious to record an episode because I know that if I die, I have to say goodbye. And those huge projects that I want to work on, well, those will be in vain. That's why in today's episode, I'll be tying a neat little bow on our world and waving goodbye to hardcore Minecraft. Not so that I can say goodbye to Let's Play episodes for good, but so later down the line I can start a survival series that will be even better. I want to begin a forever world starting with the Copper Golem update, but before that, we have some work to do here in our starter town. Well, here we are, fellas. The final episode of the hardcore series, episode 10. I think with this episode, I want to end things on my own terms, and I can think of no better way to do that than to spruce up the town that started it all. As things stand right now, it's kind of just out in the open, and I think what I want to do is I want to construct a huge and massive wall that's going to surround this entire area to kind of give it that kingdom look. We're going to construct watchtowers and gatehouses. We're going to make the wall thick, unlike the trial chamber town, which is only stacked logs. I think it's going to look pretty nice, and it'll be a nice little bow that we can put on top of said starter town before we move on to greener pastures, because honestly, I've just been really scared of hardcore Minecraft for a while. I have these really big projects I want to start, and I would just be soul crushed if I started on these projects and then died out of nowhere. So we're going to end things on our own terms today, and we're going to get to work on sprucing up the town that started it all for this YouTube channel and for this series. So I'm going to look around for some materials, and we'll see what we're working with. Okay, so after searching through all of the chests in the immediate area, I have determined that these shulker boxes right here hold the keys to us being able to build a giant wall. And currently, we're not exactly looking too pretty in terms of resources. Now, the deep slate is pretty good. This actually might be enough. I don't think we'll need any more than this because I'm not using a lot of deep slate. It's mainly going to be the deep slate tiles that I'll be using in this build, but I'm also going to be combining that with stone bricks as well as a lot of spruce, and, well, these leave a lot to be desired. So I think I'm going to have to set up a gigantic smelting system, which it's not going to be automatic because I don't know how to do that. But I am going to use the lava that we have in the membership mineshaft over here, and I'm going to set up a bunch of furnaces, and I'm going to smelt down a lot of our cobble into stone so that we can turn it into stone bricks, and I guess I'll probably need to deforest an entire biome to get the rest of the spruce. See, the general design for the wall is going to look a little something like this, so we're not exactly going to need a lot of deep slate, and we are kind of going to need a lot of stone brick as well as logs. As you can see, this is a little bit of a thick wall, and we're just going to be chaining these together over and over and over again, connecting into giant gates to allow us into the village and whatnot. So yeah, this is kind of what we're looking at. As you can see, I kind of incorporated the little design that the hardcore hearts have into the wall. Thought it was a neat little touch. And this is kind of my first time building something like this as like an actual thick castle wall, so hopefully it looks good whenever we're done. Given this wall will need to encase such a huge area, we're going to need a lot more stone bricks. I stopped by the trial chamber storage house to pick up all of the leftover cobble from our construction of the underground minecart system, and then I went off to get all this smelted. This would be quite a long process, and I made sure to use purely lava from the member mineshaft and nether as fuel, and even created a chunk loader to optimize its speed while I was far away doing other things in the meantime. At this point, most of our material problems were solved, but spruce wood was still an issue, which of course means chopping montage. Okay, so with all of our materials gathered, which we do have quite a bit now, I think it's about time that we get started on the wall construction. Now, the problem with that is that we're going to need to do quite a lot of terraforming because if I want to capture all of my builds inside of one gigantic wall, it's going to have to extend out pretty far, probably to around right here. If I go ahead and go into free cam, yeah, so we're gonna want to get it around this dome. So it'll of course come through here, over there, out to the water. We'll have the wall kind of go across the water back there. And then of course start here, go across to where this road meets and maybe make a little entrance gate and then go all the way out to the water again. So yeah, building the wall is definitely one thing. Terraforming is a whole nother, and we're gonna have to get rid of this little hill at the very least, and try to make things look as normal as possible, as well as chopping quite a lot of trees and even flattening out the land as well. So I have my work cut out for me. And so I got started on some terraforming up front where we'll be placing our first gatehouse and walls. This was met with a side quest, as once I remembered I'd need to break down an entire hill nearby, I went caving for some materials so that we could light our first ever beacon to make it easier. I went back to the first ever village we found in the series and also set up a quarry so that I could gather some extra cobblestone, because in my infinite wisdom, I smelted literally every piece I had to my name and would need some for the builds. After this, I packed up the beacon and got to work on constructing the first gatehouse and the walls, with the walls having a bit of a changed design, which I feel like looks a bit better than what I showed you guys earlier. Afterwards, I removed part of the hill which was blocking construction of the wall, and then went ahead and extended it all the way out as far as I wanted. Once that was finished, I began work on our first of many watchtowers that would be placed in these corners. I lit a nice little fire at the tops of them for light and smoke to carry out of the rooftops for some added pizzazz, and then I noticed how lopsided our gatehouse was, so I went back and centered it, meaning that we definitely had to begin work on that hill. I'm not the greatest with terraforming, but I feel like it did a good enough job at giving us some space while not making it look too unnatural. With the hill now taken care of, we're now able to move on to the rest of our builds, starting with the next watchtower, and then following it up with yet another long stretch of wall. Now, the problem with this wall is while I managed to get the gatehouse completely right, I was an idiot and never indented the walls, meaning I had to go back and fix them, which took over 20 minutes of my life I wish I could get back. Once that was done though, we're almost ready to wrap a bow on this side of the town, as we're able to finish up our last of the watchtowers and then extend a final wall on this side into the lake. Now, taking a break from all that real quick, let's give thanks to our brand new members and Ko-fi supporters, Chip, 𝗟𝗡𝗓𝗏, Alex, Josh, as well as 𝗠𝗢𝗏77, with some of these guys being tier 2 supporters and as such, becoming villagers in our town. Anyways, now on the opposite side of our last watchtower, we're now able to begin work on one of the longest stretches of wall, and as that gets done in a jiffy, I'm then detailing around the place like making staircases to get on top of the walls we've been building, adding supports and cobblestone to the exposed undersides, and even creating little roofed areas at the tops of the steps, as well as stacking up rocks on the coastline. You know, I'm sure that time lapse for you guys really wasn't that bad, but man, did it take a long time to get this wall done. I didn't use any mods like 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 to really get a material list for this build. I kind of just, winged it. So I have a ton of leftover materials down there that I don't think I'll ever use, but I'm glad that I gathered them at the very least anyways. At this point, whenever it comes to our little town here, we kind of need to fill in some of the empty space that we got going on. And I think the best way to go about doing that is taking the block palette that we originally started the town with, using things like mangrove and dark oak combined with cobblestone, all that kind of stuff, as well as calcite. I think it's time that we take this block palette right here and kind of take some of the default villager houses that we can find in Minecraft and spread some villager houses throughout the town, because really, I mean, you think about it, we call it a town and we got villagers here and we got little traders coming by and everything like that, but the only houses that anybody really lives in is like mine, and I guess the villager over there has a place to sleep down there. But aside from that, there's not really any proper houses that the villagers in this area can call home. So I want to start dotting around a bunch of different villager houses in this area to kind of fill in the blank space, and I think that'll make things look a lot better than they currently do now, and really fill out this place and make it look lived in, similar to the trial chamber town right back there, which, oh my goodness, is oxidizing. I built this thing forever ago, and it's finally starting to oxidize. I just realized that. What? Look at that. Wow, only like 2 pieces, you know, whatever. It's oxidizing, and that's all that matters. Let's get started on these new houses. And so, like I said, I completely modeled these houses after already existing houses that generate as part of natural villages, just with the block palette switched out. We don't have too terribly many villagers living in our town, so I only made a couple of these houses, and then I followed it up with some finishing touches around the place, like bone mealing down some trees, grass, and flowers to make things not look so flat around here. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that's gonna do it. I think this is where I want to end off our series of Ginger Hardcore. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it with you guys. This was a fairly messy series from the very beginning. I mean, this series grew alongside me as a YouTuber, from changing my skin to shader settings to constantly changing around mods and different resource packs, and there really wasn't much consistency going on with this series, but damn it, I really had a fun time making it. There's even a wandering trader over there. I cannot explain to you guys just how excited I am to begin a actual survival series, so I don't have to worry about dying, I don't have to worry about losing my world. I can simply just sit down, play Minecraft, no stressing over, you know, making sure that I'm safe or losing any big projects or anything like that. I gotta be honest, it's going to be extremely liberating, and you guys are probably gonna see quite a lot of Let's Play episodes once those start getting pumped out. Now, before we do leave our town here, we gotta do 2 things. The first thing is, you guys looking at my forehead, the first thing is we gotta do the comment of the day. And after realizing I didn't have it ready, but now I do have it ready, let's jump into it. The final comment of the day for the series from Marie says, "You don't need hardcore, to be honest." I'm trying to say you don't need hardcore to be popular unless you actually like it. Now, this might seem like a pretty anticlimactic final comment of the day, if you will. But to be honest, it kinda, I don't know if I would say it was like the catalyst for me quitting hardcore Minecraft, but it definitely helped a lot, because when I read that comment, it really put into perspective that when I started this series, it was mainly because it was a Minecraft trend. Also, I'm gonna take Beauregard with me. Oh, I need one thing. Anyways, when I started hardcore Minecraft, I realized whenever I read that comment, it was initially because it was the trendy thing to do. I mean, everybody was doing hardcore series, and I don't know where Beauregard went. You know, I'm not even mad. I'll just leave him there. You know, I'm sure the villagers will take care of him while I'm gone. And moving forward, I think the best thing for this channel and for me and for you guys is that I just stick true to what I think I'm going to enjoy the most. And I think the concept of a forever world in survival Minecraft is truly my calling. So I can just do whatever I want, not need to worry about anything. If I die, the worst case scenario is I can just get my gear back later. And I think that's just best case for everybody involved. So, with all that said, like I said in the intro to this video, there won't be a new Let's Play until at the very least the Copper Golem update comes out. I kind of want to start the new Let's Play off with a bang, and probably a lot of new mods and stuff too, but of course keeping things fairly vanilla oriented because I don't want to change things too much. But I hope you guys know that while we're waiting on the Copper Golem update, I'm not just going to be sitting on my butt doing nothing. I'm going to be doing a lot of planning to make sure that we can start this Let's Play off. And I have a ton of ideas right from the rip in order to get you guys invested and for us to have an awesome adventure together. But with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, our starter town is the only real town that we got going on, if we simply ignore that one. And we've never really given this place a name. So I think what I want to do is I want to add a little sign right here and say, welcome to Hardcore Haven. And that's the name that we'll leave with right now. Hardcore Haven is going to have a lot of you guys named as villagers and a lot of you guys named in the member mineshaft, and perhaps a future build later down the line in our survival series, I can get around to commemorating you guys that were here from the very beginning, the first ever Let's Play on my channel, and I can get you guys back involved in our actual survival series. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all so much for watching all the episodes of this Let's Play for how messy it was. And I'll see you guys when the Copper Golem update releases for our next journey. Thanks for watching, guys.